Hey everyone, welcome to another painting process video. Now, admittedly, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I wasn't really feeling it in terms of creating videos for a while, so I focused more on my professional work for the past few years, get some more experience, and really just hone in on my work and try to improve it. With that in mind, I recorded a lot of my painting processes, which will allow me to upload a bit more regularly, hopefully, and discuss topics that I hope people of new generations of artists will find useful, as well as those who are already working in the industry to perhaps learn a thing or two along the way. With that in mind, while I'm painting Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners and more recently Guilty Gear Strive as she's making a cameo, I figured it would be appropriate to talk about art school since we are closing in on September of 2025 here and school starts soon. I've taken a note of some of the other videos discussing on whether art school is worth it, and it's something that honestly it's in a question that has appeared even when I was starting out nearly 20 years ago. Every single generation of students will always ask that age old question of whether college and art college is useful for a aspiring artist. And given that I'm now well into 15 years of working professionally, I wanted to give my take on whether my experience in art school has helped me. Now, to make the long story short, yes, it has, but it's not as simple as that as you would imagine, or else we wouldn't have a video here. To explain my stance, we have to really start from maybe a point where it'll be easier to understand, which is what doesn't art school do? So there are a lot of common misconceptions which a lot of schools like to advertise for aspiring students when in fact they're not really that true when you're in there. Obviously, they're running a business, so they want you to buy into their curriculum, but in actuality, there are a lot of things you do have to be wary about when you are dealing with these schools trying to advertise and just trying to sell you a bill of goods. Firstly, don't expect art school to turn you into this godly artist. This is going to be one of the biggest misconceptions. Now, those who don't know me or just venturing into my channel for the first time, I graduated from Sheridan Animation, which is considered one of the more prestigious art programs in North America. Now, going into the program, they would always advertise all these amazing art students and graduates who graduated and got right into Disney and they're making these films that are just freaking amazing. But the harsh reality is that, yes, there were students who ended up becoming employees in these big studios, but a lot of them took a long time before getting there. And there were maybe one or two who got there very quickly, but you can't expect to be that type of artist. And surely the art school wasn't solely responsible for their success. Now, the advertisers and marketing at these schools want you to believe that these special talents came to fruition because of their curriculum. But in actuality, if you know them personally or have seen them throughout the 4 years, chances are you'll know that these people were destined to working towards there before they're even taught in the art school. Now, how do I know that? Because statistically, I was the worst student entering into my program, and there was no expectation of me to ever work at these big companies. Quite simply, I had to play catch up, whereas these very few talented students were well ahead of the curve, even beyond what the professors can teach them. In most cases, these students only went into art school for the degree because a lot of these workplaces do not look at applications if they don't have a degree. And perhaps also being in the art school allowed them the resources to push their style to the next level. And there may be professors here and there who really hone in on them. But in reality, let's be real here, a lot of them were just good going in, and they were great coming out at best. Very, very rarely do you ever see somebody who is coming from zero and the school somehow turns them into this amazing artist. You shouldn't expect that for yourself, and you will most likely have to teach yourself quite a bit if you want to be that type of artist. Now, I'm sure there might be one of my professors listening to this, but I do want to mention that my time at Sheridan was amazing. As I said before, I was the worst artist statistically in my year. So anything I could learn, I learned from my professors as well as learning from resources I found online. And being in the school when I came from such a bottomless pit was really helpful. So for me, it was quite a great experience going from just dirt bad at art into something that is competent and workable towards now where I am professional. I definitely think I wouldn't be here where I am without the art school, but like I said before, if you're one of the types who already have a clear path that you're going for and you are capable of finding resources online to get the skills required for it, then perhaps art school isn't for you. We have so many resources online that you will most likely find what you need online if you just look for it a bit. And honestly, art school might not even have the resource for you, especially if you're doing something that is a bit more industry relevant and new. This goes into my second point. Art school is not going to teach you all these intricate techniques that will make you the next Craig Mullins. While the professors at my school were pretty competent, many of them are using archaic techniques that are not industry standard now, and I can't blame them. Many of the technologies that you see in the industry, especially with the advent of AI, are going to be foreign for a lot of these art school professors who were most likely working in the industry back in the days when the technology wasn't so advanced. And that's okay. Everybody will have their time in the sun, and technology moves so fast that even what I'm doing now is considered archaic compared to what software and hardware is available these days. To expect your professors to just know everything about the newest technologies and stuff is a bit daunting and unrealistic. What you are most likely going to be able to do, however, is to learn the art fundamentals with them, which of course are universal and they're not bound by the technologies at hand. So regardless of what field you ultimately want to do, so concept art, illustration, animation, that sort of thing, largely the art fundamentals of structure and anatomy and that sort of thing will be universal, and your professors are going to be able to teach you that. How you apply it will ultimately come down to what you want and what your path is. And you can supplement what they teach in school with what you find online and what you have talking with your peers. This goes into my third point, and possibly the more controversial one, but you also shouldn't expect these schools to be this networking heaven that will automatically connect you to peers who have connections to Disney and Pixar and that sort of thing. Now, admittedly, that was not my aim, so I wasn't actively seeking that, and also I'm more of a freelancer, renegade type of artist, so I'm not the most friendly person, I'm going to admit. However, the harsh reality is art school is going to be very competitive. And in most cases, everyone is going to look out for themselves. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's styles and their capabilities and where they're at in their art careers are going to differ between each other. It's okay to feel a little bit inadequate to your more talented peers. Again, I can speak about this because I was by far the worst artist in my year, at least going into it. So I didn't really have any expectations of coming out and just working directly into these big studios or anything. I just focus on creating my work and just improving. But anyways, going back to the idea of connections, everyone is going to have their own path. So never expect that just being in the environment means that your friends will just recommend you to Disney and your professors will look at your work and they're amazed and they're going to call out Walt Disney from the grave to get you these connections at these jobs. You're going to have to work hard to apply just like everyone else and just keep up your portfolios and do the standard stuff. I will even mention that I go to art events and conventions and I've made more connections there than art school ever gave me. Again, just my personal experience. I'm sure everybody has different experiences with the people they're with in art school. And you may sometimes luck out and have friends who will be able to get you jobs. Just in my opinion, based on how the job market is, especially now, it's not going to be easy. And everybody is even looking out for themselves and trying to get a job for themselves, let alone trying to give and recommend jobs for others. And again, nothing wrong with that. It's just one of those harsh realities that often gets misconstrued when it comes to dealing with art college. Lastly, even though this is not going to be pertaining to my art school personally, because Sheridan did have this, but don't expect art school to just offer all the resources in the world that will aid you. This pertains directly into some schools that I won't mention, which doesn't have a lot of life drawing, for instance. Now, of course, Sheridan has life drawing every night, which was one of the biggest benefits of going there, but not every art school has that luxury. You have to make your own research and really see what your art school will offer beyond just the curriculum. I use life drawing as an example because I know by far that was one of the biggest things that helped me as an artist as I was learning. And I know that a lot of other art schools don't really have this. And it is quite hard to find it outside of school. And rather, it's pretty expensive as well if you want to go every day, even if there are life drawing sessions outside of your school. You may want to even take a look at, let's say, their computer labs to see if they have good computers that you can really connect your graphics tablet and draw on. Given that I've mentioned that you will have to do a lot of learning for yourself, you want to at least have access to these resources so that you are capable of utilizing the knowledge that you learn online or found otherwise. If your school doesn't even have that for you, then there might be a problem and you might as well just focus and self-teach yourself. Okay, so if you're in the Gen Z or Gen Alpha and you're listening to this, you're wondering, well, this sounds like doom and gloom, but I'll give you my one reason why you should go into art school. And of course, this will vary between different schools, but I will say that the most important part was just being in an environment that is disciplined. The best way to explain this is similar to going to a gym. Now, you could have all the workout equipment at home, but if you're not disciplined, it can be very, very hard to work out at home because you have so much access to your work and your computer and that sort of thing. You get distracted quite easily. Whereas if you deliberately go to a gym, you have nothing else to do but to work out. So when it comes to art school, just being in the environment will motivate you, or I sure hope it motivates you, because all you're doing is going to be drawing and painting, and everyone around you are going to be drawing and painting and just talking about drawing and painting. So you're given literally no choice but to just practice your craft and get better at it. And you're comparing yourself to your peers, and you're constantly just sharing ideas, and you'll amalgamate into this just a lot of improvements along the way. You basically have guides all around you to show you the path and ensure that you're staying on the right track. And for myself, when I was starting out, again, I wasn't remotely good at drawing and painting. It gave me an environment to really strive for something, to strive to be like my peers and professors, and just knowing that I have good people around me. Now, of course, in your America, you're paying 6 digits to be in art school, so maybe this is not the only reason you should go to art school and pay for it for, but I can tell you that for the amount that I paid to be in my college, it really helped me. And it was worth way more than whatever I paid for that experience. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is the final piece of Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I will look to upload more of these videos more regularly. I'm trying to get into the habit of creating videos and make use of all my recordings. So stay tuned. Be sure to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.